Hislatlan, cha isquis chastenman, cha spaus talichast. Hello, my friends. I'm very happy to be here today from the Native Wellness Institute Power Hour. We are being sponsored today by the Indian Collective, the NDN Collective. And so we're going to start off our Power Hour today, and I have the honor and the privilege of introducing to you my padre, my dad, Mr. Deb Louie. Take it away, Wilfred.
What, you didn't add in there that my dad's an alcoholic like you usually do?
We'll get to that later, Dad.
All right, I just want to open up today with a short prayer to the Great Spirit. I want to ask him today to clear our minds, to clear our hearts. I want to ask him to especially look after our Indian people because this disease is all over America now. And a special prayer goes out to Pearl and the Navajos down here who are getting hit very hard. And I know that lady is probably having a hard time, but she needs to get her rest, take care of herself. She can't help her people if she's not well herself. So we need a special prayer for the Great Spirit to look down on them with favor. Also, we'd like to ask the Great Spirit to help us. We as the Indian people who were put here are the caretakers of this land. And we seem to be not doing a very good job at that. We start in the circle of life series of with water. The water is the giver of life. Without water, nothing can live or grow. Even us as human beings can't survive without water. And we'll go on to the animals, who's the food and the power of our people. Years ago, our people used to send our children on vision quests, and usually they came back with an animal spirit. And we go on to the trees that make the air we breathe. In that system is also our roots, berries, all the things that are sacred to our people. Without trees that make our air, we can't survive. So it's very crucial that we protect that environment. And the animals and trees and water is all like the circle of life. And we as humans, if we break that circle, if we destroy one of the entities in that circle, then we as human beings will cease to exist. So we ask, Great Spirit, that if all of the people in this world can come together as one and respect our Mother Earth, the water, the trees, the animals, maybe there'll be something here for the next generation yet to come. So we ask this today, Great Spirit. Here, I'm going to sing one short verse of a medicine song of an old medicine man. All right.
Thanks, Dad. So today, you started off with what we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about today the power of prayer and how prayer has been a part of your life and how prayer has been a part of you all have taught us as your children about praying. And so I wanted, but before we get too much into that, first I just wanted you to talk a little bit about what it was like for you to grow up on the reservation, and what is your memories of being a child?
Well, most of my memories of being a child was in our family was that we started out living up towards North Star on a ranch, and then we moved down into Nespelem, where I was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. That's when I start kind of really remembering being living in Nespelem. But it was, as far as I was concerned, everything, it was good. I, I liked it. There was a lot of back in them days. There was no drugs, but there was alcohol was the main thing. A lot of my uncles and stuff were killed in car wrecks from drinking and stuff like that. Everybody drank, but in those days, they the adults and stuff they used to have, like, I guess we call like house parties. They'd have cases of beer all over, and all my uncles could sing and play guitar, so they'd be singing them old cowboy or country and western songs all night long, stuff like that. So I got to see a lot of that. So, but other than that, just growing up in my my grandmother had to come. She worked for the clinic for a lot of years, and then she had moved because my grandpa was so mean. He was had a stroke in his 40s, so he was crippled, but he was mean. And so she moved to Colville, Washington. But then something happened to my mom, and so she had to come back and to Omak and get a house and was help raise me and my younger brother, Dave. In that year, my mom and him had dumped us at the mission. So we were at the mission for that year. So we stayed there that year, but my grandma found a little shack in the Spielman. And the next year we moved there. It was just a little shack, just like a 2-room shack that we lived in there in the 60s. Our bathroom was still outside. It wasn't until, I don't know, 5 years later that they finally, HUD or whoever they were, come in and added a little room and put a bathroom in there. But in actuality, back then we were, I guess, really, really poor, but we just never knew it. Back then, even the simple thing of playing football for the high school, you had to have pay $7 for insurance. My grandma couldn't afford to pay for 2 of us, so I let my younger brother play because I had played the year before. So
Yeah.
we didn't realize we were poor.
Yeah. Well, and so Dad, when you were at when that year you were in Omak and you went to the boarding school up at St. Mary's. So didn't you tell me once you were an altar boy?
Well, yeah, both me and my brother. No one to this day believes that, but we actually were. Yeah, we even did it at Nespelem for a while.
Oh, for over at the church.
Well, I'm actually the one that went in early in the morning to help Father O'Brien do the mass, and all the people were sitting in the church, and he wasn't coming out. So when the old lady said, "You better go check, see what he's doing," and I went in there, and he was dead. He died over in the night. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah. Even Red Palmer, him and I used to do that. So it was.
Yeah. Well, and so what was the boarding school like in Omak? Do you remember?
Well, it was. I was never in. That was my first year, but they were pretty mean to the little kids. I was back then. I was considered a big kid because I only went to the 8th grade, and I was in the 7th grade. But I thought they were. I didn't like that. That they kind of just torture them little guys. They play all day and they have to do benediction at night, and them little guys would be so tired and they'd be trying to go to sleep, and them sisters would go up and slap alongside the head. And that used to piss me off. Hey, leave them the shit alone. We'll take care of them. But I was trying to protect those little guys. And of course, since I was a bigger kid, one of the priests tried to make me cry in front of the little guys, and I wouldn't. He used to have about a 4-foot paddle he'd tune me up with. But
Wow.
I said when I got older, I'd come back and pay back to the mother. But when I come out of the war and seen him, I go, it wasn't even worth it.
Wow. So and and sometimes like when I think about when you were growing up, I think about like how your uncle shot your other uncle. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that was?
Well, they were having, one of them parties I was telling you about all night, playing guitars, singing, having a good time. And the older uncle come in and blamed my younger uncle of messing with his wife. And my younger uncle just laughed and told him, ha, I could do better than that. And my older uncle said, come out to my house. I'll shoot your ass. So my younger uncle was pretty mean. He was always fighting, but he was mean. He said, "Sure, let's go." So they got in a car with him. We drove out to the flats out there, and he said, "Well, wait in the car." He said, "I'm waiting," and he went in and got his 30-06, come out and shot right through the thing and killed him. So that was pretty hard on my grandmother. So I had, as being her, I always had to stand by her. And she said, "Men don't cry. You just stand by me." Then, being young, yeah, Graham, no sweat. I got it. So,
Yeah.
so that's kind of
So
that's the way we were raised.
how old were you when that happened? Do you remember?
Probably eighth or ninth grade. But my
So,
grandma was so small. I was pretty way taller than her anyway.
yeah. So so when so then after you made it you made it through high school. What was it like going to high school at a Cooley Dam?
It was pretty bad. They didn't like the res boys or any of the res people because they hardly none of the whites ever come up to the on the res. But it was pretty bad, but it was okay. We all stuck together. And always have to hand it to my grandmother. She and no one in our family, immediate family, ever graduated from high school, and
Mm.
so and she made damn sure that I did. She threatened me every way she could, but I did, and it made me feel pretty good because little man, one of my favorites, had sent his Stella over to bring me a gift for doing that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wow. So when do you remember when you first drank?
I don't really remember that. I was given probably 9, 10 years old. I don't know.
And so when because that's some of the stories that I remember, but when you went to Vietnam, that was pretty, like, you had to deal with a lot in Vietnam, right? Do you think that made you drink more?
Probably not. I was a pretty good drunk before I went over there.
So do you think, like, because when we talk about trauma and we talk about things like, like growing up, it was just like everybody drank, right?
Right. Yeah, I was the way of life.
Yeah.
And that
And
was, to me, that's what amazed me the most is that my grandmother never did drink, but yet all her kids, her grandkids, they were all drinkers, but she never did. I never did understand that.
yeah. So and that's why, like, that's why I wanted to, because I think for me as your daughter, when we were growing up and seeing everybody drink, and like Uncle Tuck died of cirrhosis, and he wasn't even barely in his 40s, was he?
No, little Tuck and Jocks both, I think, were 37.
When they died of cirrhosis?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were young. I mean, they were when they died, and then that, just like, how did that feel for you? When your partners passed away from drinking?
Well, what we did back then is Sandy breathed, croaked his last breath, and so what we did is went down the car, and one
Oh,
for the boys.
just
Never phased us.
wow. So even then, like, it just, you never thought about, oh, I could die or anything like that. And I know you and Mom, you guys, man, you guys played with, drinking and driving and going all the way to Inchalim, and, playing stick game all night long and driving home. And So it was just, you never thought about that, like that you could die?
Not really. I mean, I should have died in Vietnam anyway. So, I
So
mean,
you were pretty.
why worry about it then?
Well, one thing I wanted, because I think for me, like being your daughter, I felt like, when you told me about how you quit drinking, that impacted my life the most. And so I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about, how did you quit drinking after all those years of drinking? How old were you anyway?
I
What
think I
that
was probably 40.
40? So
Yeah.
how did that happen?
Well, first of all, you got to go back when I come back from Vietnam and stuff. Uh, One of the things the Vietnam vets could never stand is someone trying to tell them what to do, give you orders. I just like, there's no way you could put up with that. It set you off. But when I got back, I went to a training to be a carpenter, and I was going to be hired at the switch yards at Grand Coulee. Remember the old little green truck I had with the drums on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bailed in that and headed down there and went up there and parked and was going to grab my tools and get out. And I looked out there and said, holy crap, I'd be the only buckskin out there. I didn't see no Indians or nothing. I said, hell with this. And if one of them guys said something to me, I'd probably beat him over the head with a hammer or something. So I jumped in the truck and went back home and told your mom. I said, I don't think I could work down there. I'll probably kill one of them still happy. So they said, well, fine, we'll find something. So I kind of worked planting trees, just jobs, and uh, then the timber stand improvement program started. That's where you get the 10% monies off the timber.
Mm-hmm.
And so Andy Jack got put in there. And so I started working for him where I was over in charge of our crew that went out in the woods and got wood for the senior citizens and, did all kinds of things in the woods. We did that for quite a while. And then that program went up and then they created Colville Tribal Forestry. So then I had to switch to a whole different thing. They take a cut and pay because they had those white foresters in there then, Truman was an Indian, but he didn't look Indian, but he was. But had some of these guys in there, and so then we started doing different things, going out and marking timber and things like that. But what a lot of people that never realized all the years I worked there is that me personally, I really, really owe my tribe. I'm so thankful for my tribe for allowing me to work all them years in the woods to support my family. I can, yeah, there's nothing I could say that I was just so appreciative of that, of allowing for them to do that. And that's what kind of where I got uh, into, even though I still drank and stuff, but when we were marking timber out there, our reservation's so beautiful, I'd be marking timber or whatever and find a really cool spot. And for some reason, I just turn and greet the sun and just say a prayer. I don't know whatever started that, but I did because I wasn't much of a, didn't pray very much. But I just asked the Great Spirit to watch over my family and thank Him for being alive. And that was a beautiful day. And thank you for it being in the system out there. So that kind of went on. And some years later, Pat and Gloria, their house had burned down.
Mm-hmm.
So they were living with us with that. And so I was taking orange Kool-Aid and putting it in the freezer and freezing it because I was thirsty all the time, just drinking it and drinking. Gloria and your mom were saying, hey, you fat, I won't say the word what they call me, but you know what they call me. You need to go get checked. You probably got diabetes. I said, get off my butt, you know what I called in. But I don't want to say it on your thing, but so they're kind of on me all week, and I kept being Thursday. So on a Thursday, we're marking timber and dead horse, we went out and we're marking timber. And about 10 in the morning, I told the guys, well, here, we took a break from marking. So I said, I'll be back. So I went up over the ridge. And for some reason that day, I changed my prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the Great Spirit to help me be a better father to my children and slack off on my drinking. I don't know why I did that, but I did. And so Thursday, I got back from work Thursday, and that night, them women were on my butt again. I said, gee. So the next morning, Friday morning, we're getting ready to go out to mark timber again. So I asked them guys, Dave and Bill, and I think it was Barry. I said, hey, we got time. I can swing by the clinic and get checked to get these women off my butt. They said, yeah, we got time. So I went in there and told them what I wanted. Yeah, Deb, we'll do it. So wait out there. They drew blood, and I was sitting there. And the lady come up, hey, how do you feel? I said, pretty damn good. I said, we're putting your butt in a hospital. You shouldn't even be sitting there. I said, what? What the hell are you talking about? I said, my sugar count was like 800 and some. I said, wow, shit. So, of course, I had to call your mom and tell her, that her and Gloria were right. That about killed me to do that. But that prayer I said on Thursday and Friday, I never drank again. And so remember, I told you kids that the Great Spirit listened to that prayer. So I said I was going to go back up and ask for $1 million, but he said that don't work like that.
Yeah, and I remember, it changed our lives forever that day, Dad. When it was scary at first because you were on 2 shots of insulin, and you had to stay in the hospital. They shipped you out to Spokane, to try to get your insulin under control. But
no, that ain't the way that worked.
No,
well, they put me in a hospital on Friday, and I told that woman, Dr. Black, Sunday I was getting the hell out of there. Put somebody sick in here. So they just gave me a couple instant things. Because I feel the same that day as I do now. I don't feel no different. So, and the only reason I got off my needles, I don't like needles, so that's why I followed that thing, right to a T.
Yeah, weigh in your food and
I turned into a garbage disposal. I ate all your food you guys didn't eat. Always amazed me because remember I was really huge and big, and I lost all that weight, and I felt pretty good. And people would come up to me, hey, how do you feel? Probably because I lost all that weight, I probably didn't look good. I don't know.
Well, and that's what I think as a little kid, because you were super big. Like, I remember telling my friends, if they mess with me, I'll tell my dad and he'll kick your butt. Or, because like you were just like you were mean too, Dad. You were a pretty mean guy to everybody, and everybody knew not to mess with Deb Louie. And so when you lost all that weight, that was just like, that made a big difference in your meanness too, I think.
And I know I wish I wouldn't have lost that.
Well,
that's but things happen for a reason, they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so wasn't long after that, the year you graduated, and I ran for council. Well, remember the year before, I blew them out at the polls, and you guys thought I was in. I said, no, I'm going to lose by absentee, and I lost by a couple of votes. But I said, next year, I'll probably get in. But doing that and getting on the tribal council, which to me was unthinkable, especially in my background, my family and stuff, and it was the highest honor that I could ever achieve in this lifetime, was to get on that tribal council and serve and protect my people. That that was so cool. And that's why it was never hard for me, because I knew why I was there.
Yeah.
Serve, protect my people, fight for our sovereignty, protect our jurisdiction. Well, it wasn't hard.
Yeah, and I remember because that was the year that I ran for Miss Indian World, but that was also the year that I got cut from the basketball team.
Right.
Right?
A lot of things happen.
Yeah. And so, when I got cut from the basketball team and I was making a lot of, stupid choices that you didn't know about. Well, maybe you knew about, but anyways, but I made bad choices back then because I felt like I was a loser because I got cut. I let you down. I wanted to play basketball my senior year and make you and mom proud like Debbie did. Debbie went to state. And so everything was on basketball for me. And then I got cut. And I remember you and mom setting me down and saying, do you want us to fight? Because we'll fight. We'll fight to get you back on the team. But then we both knew that I would never get to play.
Right.
But that's because of what you did, Dad, because I knew you quit drinking by going up to the mountains and praying. That's what I did. I went up to the mountains, up to North Star, because, we were raised up there as little kids. I see Dennis is watching, but Dennis and Dode and Tommy and Sonny, Lynn, Deb, all of us kids grew up at North Star. But, when I prayed that day, I remember you told me about we had to protect Mother Earth, that our tribe was clear cutting. And that's why you were running for council, was because you wanted to stop our tribe from clear cuts. Do you remember that?
Right. But I'm the one that hauled your butt to North Star, too. Do you remember that?
That was before then. That's when I came back from Earth Ambassadors, I think, and I drug you guys up there. And
no, this is here on your first prayer up there. When you come back, when you try to drag us up there in the middle of winter, we couldn't even get in there with my truck chained up in the front. And I told you were stupid. We can't make it in there. Like, of course, your mom, take her in there.
But Dad, when I did all that, I felt like I was just like, I just wanted to be close to Creator. I wanted Creator to hear my prayers and
Yeah.
But that's the thing, Dad. You did it because you loved me and you had to listen to Mom.
That's right.
Or get your butt kicked.
Yeah, if your mom wasn't there, there's no way in hell we would have. And of all stupid things, we even had to load the damn teepee poles on that truck to set you up there. I was ready to set you up there and leave you up there all winter.
So Dad, when one of the things that because I travel a lot with the Native Wellness Institute and I go places and I always call you and ask you to pray for me. And I remember the even when I graduated from high school and I was the class speaker and we had to go to the church to do I think it's called baccalaureate, and I wrote my speech. And because I didn't know, and I remember me and Mom sat and wrote out my whole speech, and we got to the church, and it was probably the worst speech I ever did in my life, because I was so nervous. And I remember we left there, and I can't remember, you or Mom said, well, that's the last time you better ever write a speech. And you told me, you speak from your heart. You when you get up there, you speak from your heart, and you don't need a piece of paper, because if it doesn't come from your heart, then it's not true. And that's how you've always been, is to just speak from your heart, as a tribal leader and as a father and just everything. And is that something that you learned, or is it just how you are?
I'm not sure, but I read I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and actually, when I was on the tribal council, on my wall, I had a lot of sayings from the old chiefs, like Chief Black Kettle, the chief from on the coast, Chief Seattle. all those chiefs, I had those words up there, and I had them words up there to keep me in perspective of why I was here serving my people, and that's why I'd read them and look at them and to realize that's why I'm here. So that one of the things people never understood when I lost my daughter, I never did get to grieve properly for her because, when I took the job as a leader of my people to serve them, my tribe came first, my family second, and you can attest to that, you know. And that's what it was. When my time was up serving my people, and then I could go back and try to take care of my family, but I was too late for Dolly, and I never forgive myself for that I wasn't there for my daughter, But what could I do?
Yeah. Well, and I remember, Dad, when Dolly died, and after the services and everything, you sat us all down and you told us, I don't know if I told Dolly I loved her, but if I haven't told you kids I love you, I'm telling you, because growing up,
I
you
didn't.
you didn't know how to love, and that even, that was a hard thing for you. And but I know from being your daughter that day you told us you loved us, that meant the world to me, Dad, because I just always wanted to do my best to make you proud of me. And and it was just, it was hard on all of us when Dolly died, because we we're a close family, and you're the rock of that family. And so it was, but I just want to tell you, Dad, like I remember growing up, and I remember you and Mom you were fighting about Jackson, and you guys were arguing back and forth, and Mom was mad at you because you wouldn't go play catch with Jackson. And I remember you just looked at Mom and said, I don't know how to be a effing dad. Nobody ever taught me. Nobody ever played catch with me, or, you were just like, I don't know what to do. I never had a dad. And I remember like watching you guys and just thinking, holy, I didn't know that Dad didn't have a dad, like I didn't know. And it just, when me and Debbie went to Haskell and we learned about the historical trauma and all the stuff that happened to our people to make us so hurt, like with boarding schools and diseases and, all these things. And then I realized that's why you are the way you are. And that's why you couldn't love. But I'm just grateful that you can do that a little bit now. You can say I love you, and especially when we got Bubba, like the golden child,
Right.
you became a totally different parent to her.
Well, and then what you say is true, because in my family, the way I was raised, no one in my family, the men especially, what they say, I love you or any of that crap. That wasn't a word in our family when I was raising up. You do this or you get your ass kicked. That's the way it was in my family. So.
Yeah. And even like for old grandma, so old grandma never said she loved you?
No.
And your mom?
No.
They never said I love you to you?
No. I wouldn't believe my mom, even she did back in them days. Unless I had a pint and I was hiding, and if I gave her to her, then that's probably, I don't know. She no, I just wasn't a word we threw around in our clan.
Yeah. But growing up, did you realize at any point that you didn't have love, or?
No, not really. I didn't think we needed it.
You just kept going. You just
Yeah, what? Love can't buy you nothing.
that. Yeah, but I mean, I guess. Did you ever think about like why your grandma and your mom couldn't, like why they were so mean? Like,
That
you ever
was
think about that?
that's the way of life back then.
It was tough, right? It was. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah,
Well, they call that what? Tough love, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's how you guys. That's how you were raised. Because I remember even you told me one time you went to Omac Stampede, and you were with all your buddies and little man, your uncle, right? What
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
man? What did he say? What did he tell you when he seen you?
Well, we were teenagers then, and so he come up and he said, "Hey, I hear that words out there. You think you're pretty tough, huh?" I said, "Yeah, I think I can hold my own." You know, and man, he just bam right in the stomach. Oh man, oh crap! I thought I was a goner, but I held it and said, I told him after I caught my breath, "Is that all you got?" And he turned around, staggered. I was like, "Holy crazy, about kill me!"
That's so
But I
crazy.
couldn't show that in front of my partners there.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and one thing I wanted you to talk about too, Dad, is your when because you were a big stick game player. Like back in the day, you used to have special gifts when you played stick game. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, when I was young and first start playing stick game, we got into it pretty good. I really liked it, but and since I was raised by my grandmother, remember now, my grandmother didn't allow any Indian spoken in the house. We had to learn English. She wanted to make sure that uh, we could survive in that other world. So when my mom and grandpa would speak Indian, she would get on them. Hey, you guys, you don't need to be doing that here in front of these boys. They need to learn English so they got to go to school. So that's kind of, which was bad in a sense because that kind of cheated us out of a really, really key part of our growing up. And so that's how we did that. And I kind of got off track. What was the question again?
It was about when you that like because you used to have a gift to be able to
Oh, play
bowl.
stick game.
Yeah.
Well, well, I didn't really know I had that. They call it was like the site or whatever, and but we were playing. We was a big group of us used to always play stick game together. Lucille Makotis was usually always appointed. All of us guys would all be playing there with her, and I try to help her point. Because I was probably a little bit older than Donnie and Rusty and all those guys, Squires. Anyway, that we're playing in Moses or Soap Lake, and it was dark. We were playing there, and we weren't doing too good. And for some reason, I put my head down. I was looking, and I could see the bones. And I said, "Holy!" But she also said, "Which way do you think?" I said, "Well, I don't know if this is right or not, but I seen the bones. They're down. They're in the middle." He said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." Well, what the hell? He's pointing in the middle, and we got them both. So, and, but see, because I didn't have the proper upbringing and stuff, I didn't know how to take care of that and stuff. And so I was always old medicine women were always hitting me and stuff. And they finally took it. But I knew how to take care of it. I probably to this day still be unbeatable.
Yeah.
Last year, even though they took it, we won massive games. Me and your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played had a pretty good time. That was it. Could hardly wait for the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what do you think, like because you didn't really have a lot of those traditional teachings, you just learned as you went, through life and stuff. But to me, like one of your biggest teachings to me is to pray to the water. You
Right.
know, you always tell us, you know, when we wake up in the morning and when we're taking a shower, that we ask the water to cleanse our hearts and our minds and our spirits, and to allow us to be good people and have a good heart. So where did you learn that from?
I'm not really really sure. Just because the water is the giver of life. Without water, it's the most powerful entity. I think of that. They're all in conjunction. But without water, nothing can live or grow. You know, your trees can't grow without water. That make our air. They need the water. The animals can't survive unless they have the water. So it's the key to our existence is the water. And, you know, there's all of the court battles in the United States has been over water, you know. And so it just, I don't know, just something that is there. And I'm sure all the other tribes do the same thing, respect to water. I would
Yeah,
hope. I would hope anyway.
yeah. And it was the same thing, Dad, like how you would tell me when I would travel, you know, and when I became an Earth ambassador, and I would travel to different places to speak about protecting Mother Earth, and I remember too, you know, even then you told me, you know, you wouldn't take a piece of dynamite and blow up your mom's heart. You wouldn't, you know, have make your mom drink, you know, poison. And the way that you would explain things to me, like that's your mother. She gave birth to you. She carried you for 9 months. You have a connection to her. That's the same connection that we have to Mother Earth. You know, she's the same. And you know, it was the way that you taught me. It was how you explained it to me that helped me when I would go out to do, you know, to work with kids and to work with people, and that was just you're just good at explaining that. And you know, I think one of the things I love the most about you is as being on tribal council for 18 years. In those 18 years, you never changed, Dad. You always wore your t-shirt and jeans. And even when the governor of Washington would come, you just, you know, you'd have a mustard stain, and, you know, you didn't care what you know, you were there for the people. And, you know, we're getting ready for elections all across, you know, Indian country. And I just hope that, you know, our leaders will look at, you know, they're there to serve the people. And every morning when you would walk outside the door of our log house, you would greet the creator, the great spirit, because the sun would come up, you
Over
know,
that hill, yeah.
that hill behind our house. And I don't know how many times you would pull me out there, say, come on, we got to greet the sun, we got to say our prayers. And you would, you know, you would just say the simplest prayer, you know. But that's my foundation and who I am today, and who I try to teach my children to be, you know, to greet the sun.
Well, where did I lose you when you had me running from corner to corner on that tree, praying to a tree? I thought, I hope no one come by and seen me. I had me all tight there. That's one reason I wouldn't let him cut that tree down for years, but I finally had to give up. It was finally a goner.
Well, you know, and this just before we got on the call, and you were asking me, well, did you go pray today? And yes, I went down to the tree and I prayed with the tree. And you know, that's, you know, but that's who we are. That's, you know, that connection between Mother Earth and Father Sky. And you know, like I have that picture that I drew with the 7 hands, that, you know, every decision we make, we have to make thinking about the next 7 generations. How is the decision that we make today going to impact our future? And that's what being a human is about, right? Like we all have to think like that. It's not just for you, tribal leaders, and, you know, we got to think like that, everybody.
And your histories, don't ever forget your history is very important to our survival. You don't want history to repeat itself. You know, that's why And I think that's a problem I have with my leadership now. There's no history. They don't, and they're making decisions on our water. You know, you can't you can't mess with our water. I mean, the Winter's Doctrine protects us and our water, and if you start dealing with the states, they're going to lose that right. Now, that's so sad that you don't have leadership nowadays with any vision for the people. It's all about money, economics, and money. You know, even your leadership, like my council now, making 100 and some thousand a year for what? There ain't nothing. Why do they need so much money in that location? And a rumor get to me, some of them are getting overtime, which is total BS. You know, it just it's sad. You know, when you think about how money overrules everything. You know, when we leave here, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's something that you always tell us, that's why I think when we were growing up, I remember one time we had 24 people living in that log house. I mean, we fed, like, it was like a restaurant when we lived there, cooking fried potatoes and hamburger and macaronis for 24 people, but our doors were always open. And, that's something that you taught us, Dad, that anything we had, if somebody needed it, give it to them. I remember people would come up to the house and they would be like, "Hey, Deb, I want to hawk you my gun, or hawk you this beaded purse, or hawk this, hawk that." And you would always, even if it was your last $20, you would give it to them. And, it was just, that's just how you were. You always help people and gave them the shirt off your back if they needed it. Half the time you don't even wear a shirt.
Yeah, I had to today. I asked your mom, "Do I have to wear a shirt?" Wear a shirt. I always remember at the airport when you were trying to clutch onto your old Pendleton, didn't want to give it up.
Oh, yeah. That was so funny because, I remember when I was an Earth ambassador, and I remember for Christmas, I begged you and Dad for that red leather jacket. Like, that's all I wanted for Christmas. And I went to the Earth ambassador conference, and it was Sunny Joe's birthday. And she's like, "Oh, LoVina, I like your jacket." And there were so many times I seen Yaya just take off her shoes, take off her earrings, take off her necklace, like anything. And when Sunny Joe said, "Oh, I like your jacket," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I probably should just give it to her. It's her birthday." So here you go, Sunny Joe, and I gave her the jacket. And then I called you and Mom, and I was like, "Mom, Dad, guess what I did?" And you guys were like, "What?" I said, "I gave away my red leather jacket." And you guys were just like, "What the hell?" But ever since that moment, I gave away Pendleton coats, I gave away boots, but it's just because those are traditional teachings that, Yaya helped teach us.
Well, let's be honest about it. If you give it away, my dad and mom will buy me another one. Be honest about it. Come on.
That's
true. When you gave your Pendleton coat away, what happened? We had to buy you another one. So it's getting pretty deep there, Sister Belle.
Yeah, we might need a shovel us out. Like,
yeah, that's right. I'm the one that probably needs the boots. Hey, your sister actually went with us yesterday. It was about 2 when we went around to the cemeteries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think she actually enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Well, that's really good, Dad, because you guys, you paid tribute to all the veterans. And I posted a picture yesterday of Uncle Donnie. And yeah, so, he's passed away now, but, because he served with you in Vietnam. So, yeah.
Well, I'm the last one standing between Donnie and Rusty. We went in together.
Yep.
I wonder why I'm out blasting everybody. This is starting to get ridiculous.
It's because you're ornery. Your
Uh,
orneriness keeps you here.
I always, I, I always think back, and my old grandma uh, in September, when I met your mom that summer or whatever, or I can't remember what happened anyway, but
You met her at what?
I know where I met her, but I mean, when it was September, towards the end of September there, and uh, them guys were trying to tell me Porky and all them guys, Gloria, all them people that most of them are gone now, Pat. I said, hey, why don't you just marry her, your mom?
Uh-huh.
And I said, I don't know. So we went up to grandma's and Porky come in there all blitz. Come on, marry her. Shit, we can have a party. And oh, grandma, you should just marry her and get it over with. I said, what? Even my old grandma is torturing me. So, I guess so. We went down and that's when we got married by that old judge down there. And so we had a party all night and stuff like that. But I thought that was pretty cool that even because my old grandma didn't like too many women, but she liked your mom.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then 6 days later, I sent to Vietnam. So
And 9 months later, Jean Louie was born. Exactly 9 months later.
that's right. She's legal.
You guys were married September 25th, and Debbie was born on June 25th. I remember
Exactly.
when I figured that out.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been married now?
It'll be 53 years this year, September.
That's awesome, Dad. Well,
Yeah.
our hour's about up. So do you want to say any last words before we end our power hour?
As they say in the Coeur d'Alene, adios, amigos.
You're so lucky. Mom's not here.
I know. That's why I can say anything I want. She's taking care of business.
Well,
One thing that on our 50th anniversary, I was trying to con Jackson into buying your dad a medal for putting up with your mom for 50 years. And your brother said, what are you trying to do, Dad? Get me killed? And then you turn around and get your mom a medal. That was weak.
I know, and we gave it to her at AT&I in front of
Yeah.
all of those guys at AT&I. 50 years with Deb Louie. You deserve. You got medals in Vietnam. Mom never got a medal for putting up with you for 50 years, Dad. She deserved it.
Yeah, that's probably could be true, maybe.
And
But one thing though, is that when we give talks, that's one thing we try to always state is that not only should the veteran be honored, but the wives and the families of veterans that have to put up with especially if they're combat vets. And people are really, really crazy when they come back from the war, and you know that. You guys can attest to that. But there's very few women have toughed it from beginning to end with their husbands. A lot of divorces happen when the men come back from Vietnam. Your mom was one of the few that toughed it out. Like I said, for the first 20 years, I put her through a lot of bad shit, and I admitted that after I sobered up. And over the next 20 some years, I tried to make up for it, buying her stuff and doing stuff. And I finally asked her about over 40 years, I said, I know the first 20 were bad, and so, but it's been way past the second 20, and I think we're about even, don't you think? He said, you'll never get even. I thought it was worth a shot.
I know, and we get all that stuff you bought, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah, after I invested 10-20 grand into turquoise and out of the clear blue. Well, Dad, I'm native. I should be wearing beaded stuff. So now I have to buy all beaded stuff. But then I thought about it. I said, wow, little $250 necklace versus a $800 necklace. I said, yeah, I can live with that.
Yep. Well, that's
All
awesome,
right.
Dad. Hey, I just wanted I wanted you to know I seen that Dawn came on. Remember Dawn? She lived with us, and
Oh,
the
oh
hero
yeah, yeah. The Indian girl at oh, what the heck was his name?
James Black.
The hero.
The
Yeah,
hero.
the hero. Well, you tell Don I said hi. I always think about her. I always thought that she was really very beautiful, and to me looked like the truest Indian girl I ever seen. And then come to find out she couldn't be enrolled. That
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you see her, tell her I said hi.
I will. All right. Well, hey, Dad, I just want to say thank you, Liam Lamch, for coming.
Remember, 180 pounds of twisting steel and sex appeal. What you see is what you get.
That's what I was waiting for, because I know when the day comes when you finally cash in that we have our orders for
Yep.
what kind of rifle is it? I better get it on live. We have to put a rifle in your casket.
That's right. Ammunition, my knife, and no moccasins. I'm tenderfoot. I need my shoes.
And then what's your other saying, Dad? Kill them all. Let God sort them out.
That's right.
I remember when
I was telling your mom when I left for Vietnam. I told her, hey, don't worry about it, man. Because back then I was young. I'm good. You don't have to worry about it. Shit, I'll be back. Then when I met her in Hawaii for R&R, and I told her, well, maybe I was a little hasty. It's kind of touch and go over there. But
you
remember,
made it back.
who protected me, according to the mole people?
Who was that?
The eagle.
Oh yeah, because you were 101st Airborne.
That's right.
An eagle. All right.
I'll see you later, Walking Eagle. I love you.
All right. Well, we want to
Tell
thank
the people what that is.
Dad always calls people walking eagle because they're so full of crap. I shouldn't say the bad word, but they're so full of crap they can't fly. All right, so we want to thank you from the Native Wilderness Institute for joining us today on this Power Hour. Thanks, Dad. Love
You're
you.
welcome. See you later.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.